Today we would be talking about various critics on the drama Othello. Walter R. has said that no dramatist can create like characters, save by bequeathing the best of himself to the children of his art, scattering among them a largest of his own qualities, giving, it may be, to one his wit, to another his philosophic doubt, to another his love of action, to another the simplicity and constancy that he finds deep in his own nature. Like those of Shakespeare's cannot be written in cold blood, the plays they call forth the man's whole energies and take toll of the last farthing of his wealth of sympathy and experience. Now when we say that he uses his entire energy, he at the same point of time he uses his highest resources of his romantic art, and what he's given it is all sport and triumphant ridicule. Now when we move to another critic, we would talk of Wilson Knight. Wilson Knight has also talked of Othello and Shakespeare in general. Wilson Knight has called Othello that it is faced with vividly particular rather than vague and universal. Now it is correct also, because the character of Othello and the character of Desdemona is very particular rather than vague and universal. The play as a whole has a distinct formal beauty. Within it we are aware of or confronted with beautiful and solid forms. Now we talk of A.C. Bradley and what A.C. Bradley has to say on Othello as a play. A.C. Bradley says, in reading Othello, the mind is more bound down to the spectacle of noble beings caught in the toils from which hero is no escape, while the prominence of the intrigue diminishes the sense of the dependence, and his character falls at some point of time. A.C. Bradley at other point of time has also talked of Othello as a tragedy which undoes the noble and brings out the devilish and the cunning in the person. Then A.C. Bradley has also talked of Othello as one sense of the word by far the most romantic figure among Shakespeare's heroes, and he is so partly from the strange life, war and adventures which is lived from childhood. He does not belong to our world, and he seems to it we know and whence, almost as if from wonderland. The sources of danger in this character are revealed but too clearly by the story. Othello's mind, for all its poetry, is very simple. He is not an observant. His nature tends outward. He is all external, whereas Hamlet is more of his inside mind, what he thinks. So in this way, Hamlet and Othello are very different from each other. Now we talk of T.S. Eliot, who says that it is a modern tragedy, and it reflects this drama reflects the attitude of self-dramatization. Then there are other critics who think that Othello talks of the justice. Then they at the same point of time they talk of the feelings of envy, jealousy, which are too much demonstrated in this play. Besides this, there are other critics like H. Gardner. They have talked of Iago, his selfish behavior, his cunningness. Then there are other authors who have talked of Desdemona as she is very warmly human, she is all domestic, she is a maiden, never bold, and she accepts Othello as a proper man who speaks well. Then we can talk of Mrs. Jameson, who had talked of Othello in connection with Shakespearean sonnet, "Love is not love, which alters when its alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark." But in this play, Othello's love alters on his own suspicion. So this is also a point of criticism by some of the authors. Then H. Gardner says that talks of Emilia. He says she is all silence, and she is not ever jealous, and but she is projected in various domestic scenes, and her behavior in various domestic scenes is a point of mark. Then we can sum up by saying that since this play is very popular, it has been a point of criticism and appreciation by various critics of Shakespeare, and in order to give you a wider view of this play, I have pointed out some of the critics for you. Thank you.